Good evening and welcome to Thai PBS English News Service. I'm Subhajon Klinsuwan. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs today invited ambassadors and foreign delegates to listen to the Thai side of the story regarding possible terrorist activities. At least 10 countries are still warning their citizens to be cautious when traveling or when living in Thailand. Siyasak Phuongket Gao, Permanent Secretary at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, told representatives of more than 40 countries that Thailand is confident that no one, Thai or visitor, will fall victim to terrorist activities while they're staying here in Thailand. Siyasak told envoys that Thailand is working closely with every country when it comes to fighting terrorism and asked countries which are still issuing warnings to their citizens when staying in Thailand to consider lifting those warnings. Countries which have not revoked their terrorist warnings about Thailand include the UK, Austria, Taiwan, South Korea, Italy, Japan, Romania, Canada, and the US. Meanwhile, the police investigating Archis Hussein, the Lebanese terrorist suspect arrested in the middle of last month, say there have been significant findings but they cannot yet reveal anything to the public. Officials are also searching for another Lebanese terrorist suspect called Jamie Paulo. Police did not say whether Paulo is still in Thailand or not. One of the first and most controversial warnings about the possibility of terrorist activities in Thailand, according to Thai authorities, was issued by the U.S. Embassy in Bangkok. The ambassador remains firm in her view that the warnings to American citizens must remain for now. Kun Natha Gomonwatin met with the U.S. ambassador earlier today.
You know, our advice to American citizens was put out, as you say, 3 weeks ago, based on some very serious and important information. That advice is still sound advice, but let me make clear, we never said Americans should not travel to Thailand. Americans travel here all the time. We've had high-level visitors here, and of course I'll have friends and family coming very soon.
Yeah, but it's the special warning, isn't it? Emergency message. And what's the difference between travel alert and travel warning?
Not to get into the complications, but what our message really is advice to American citizens. And it's good advice anytime, anywhere. But again, we never said they should not come to Thailand. Americans are coming here in record numbers, and I think it's set to be a record travel year for tourists to Thailand anyway.
More of Ambassador Christie coming up in Tini Thai PBS after the Thai PBS English News Service program. Moving on, the driver of a truck which collided with a taxi, killing 4 Swedish tourists and another Thai driver in Phang Nga province, turned himself into authorities this morning. Police Colonel Not Sawet Le Kokloy's police superintendent told Thai PBS that the driver of a 6-wheel truck which collided with a car, killing 5 people, turned himself into the police this morning after fleeing the scene of the accident on Wednesday. The Swedish embassy has been informed of the matter but would not yet give out any further details. 4 Swedes, all in their early 20s, and a Thai driver were heading to a diving site in Chumphon province when the tragedy occurred. All 5 died at the scene when the truck driver dozed off at the wheel and crossed a traffic island before crashing into the taxi. Still with tourism, more than 200 Russian tourists have been left stranded in Thailand as their Moscow-based tour operator failed to pay for their accommodation and flights. Thanks to the state officials and the private sector in Pattaya, the tourist flights and rooms will be covered. The collapse of a large Russian travel agency, Lanta Tour, left more than 200 Russian tourists stranded in eastern Thailand, most at the seaside resorts of Pattaya. The tour company filed for bankruptcy on January 28 and had not paid for accommodation nor return flights for the tourists. However, with assistance from Thai authorities and the private sector in Pattaya, the hotels have let tourists stay without any charge. The concerned businesses estimated their loss of income to be around 10 million baht. Meanwhile, airlines are reported to be prepared to honor the tickets and then take legal actions against the tour company. The MD of Lanta Tour's office in Thailand is now in police custody after being caught working without a work permit. Tourists who feel relieved today say they will fly back home, file a court case, and then next year come back and visit the friendly city of Pattaya again. The international community is hoping that the latest gentleman's agreement between Myanmar and ethnic Mons could lead eventually to a complete ceasefire. This may be one of the essential milestones on the road to bringing an end to the long-term international economic sanctions currently imposed on Myanmar. Here's more from Kun Serm Suk Kasiti Badit.
New State Party Vice President Losar and Waming, Myanmar Railway Minister, signed a preliminary agreement at Molamang Wednesday. The deal, referred to by the New State Party leader as a gentleman agreement, states that a ceasefire must be observed by both sides. The initiative will also start with the Mon, setting up a communication office along with areas and districts designated as arm-free. During the one-day meeting, Myanmar peace envoy indicated a willingness to release ethnic Mon political prisoners if a ceasefire agreement is inked. New State Party leader Tom Mon told Thai PBS the pending ceasefire agreement could eventually lead to political dialogue, respecting political rights of ethnic people. The European Union ambassador to Thailand says this is a good sign, which might lead to an end of economic sanctions on Myanmar.
What are the chances of the political reform and the by-election in Myanmar collapsing or back to the military regime?
In politics, there is no such thing as irreversibility. It is clear that there is always a danger that things could go backwards. But personally, I think it's unlikely. But we are, of course, very vigilant in the European Union, and that is why we have not lifted all our sanctions yet, and we're watching the development of events. But personally, I'm quite confident that things will carry on in this way, and that we will be in a position to relax and lift sanctions later this year and try to encourage trade and investment with Myanmar.
This past week, Myanmar President Thein Sein reiterated that creating peace and understanding with ethnic groups is his government's most urgent issue, along with political reform and reconciliation with all parties, which will likely bring Myanmar back into the global community. April 1st this year is expected by the international community to see Myanmar's first free and fair election in over 2 decades, with Aung San Suu Kyi running in the election. Serm Suk Kasiti Padit, Thai PBS.
The National Broadcasting and Telecommunications Commission will, for the entire month, organize a nationwide roadshow before concluding a master plan for administrating the priceless telecom, TV, and radio frequencies and airwaves. All members of the private and public sectors are welcomed to contribute to the National Broadcasting and Telecommunications Commission, or NBTC's master plan for distributing this country's frequencies and airwaves. There are 3 sets of regulations which cover frequency redistribution, telecommunications, and TV and radio signals management.
We have written in the draft master plan that Thailand going to be transformed from broadcasting analog into digital broadcasting within 4 years. 4 years related to year 2015, which is an ASEAN commitment that the country in ASEAN will transform itself from analog into digital. So our master plan also relate to that years, but in practice we could transform to digital system earlier than 2015 if the stakeholders such as the industry or the television station and the government agree upon this principle. Maybe we could just switch off from a few years ahead.
The issue of recalling all airwaves from current users before redistributing them fairly remains a controversial issue. The first round of forum will be held on the 10th of February in Bangkok's Mueang Thong Thani. Then 3 more rounds will be organized on the 14th in the northern province of Chiang Mai, the 17th in the southern province of Songkhla, and on the 21st in the northeastern province of Ubon Ratchathani. Representatives of the management of Bangpa-In Industrial Estate have asked the government to speed up the flood prevention plan around the estate, while many factories still cannot operate their production lines as normal. Having returned to their factories after floodwaters receded, many factories in Bangpa-In Industrial Estate still cannot operate as normal. 14 factories in the estate are fighting to restart operations by the middle of this month. Director of Bangpa-In Industrial Estate said that the machinery has been damaged and the level of damage is still being assessed by insurance providers. This, of course, means that many workers have still not been able to return to work. 3,500 workers have lost their jobs completely out of a total workforce at the estate of around 60,000. Representatives of the management of the estate are pressuring the government to speed up the flood prevention plans surrounding the estate ahead of this year's rains and to postpone the minimum wage rise of 300 baht. Bangpa-In Industrial Estate has built a 4-meter-high concrete water barrier to prevent floodwater getting into the estate. It is expected that the 11-kilometer-long barrier will be finished by August this year, long after the start of the rainy season. Japanese electronics giant Sony Corp reported a net loss of $2.1 billion for the last quarter of 2011 and more than doubled its projected loss for the full year. Thailand's flooding last year contributed to the loss, but Sony executives have not yet indicated whether they are considering moving production bases away from Thailand.
For the October through December period of last year, Sony Corporation saw a net loss of $2.1 billion, or some 64 billion baht, due to weak TV sales, fierce competition, a strong yen, and of course production disruptions caused by the flooding in high-tech industrial park in Ayutthaya here in Thailand. 2 of Sony's factories came to a complete standstill when the floods hit Thailand late last year. One of the factories was Sony's biggest manufacturer of digital cameras. For the full financial year, which ends in March, Sony predicts a net loss of 89 billion baht, or $2.9 billion, more than double its previously forecast $1.1 billion loss. But the company is still confident that Sony will be back on track in the near future.
Sony, like much of Japan, is in real difficulty. We have bounced back twice, and don't bet against us bouncing back again. It would be very nice if there were no earthquakes, no floods, no hackers, no anything. But on our own skills, we can get the company back to the targets we've already issued, which is 5%, and we'll be back.
Sony's next move is to change its current CEO. The question of whether or not Sony will move its production bases out of this country has not yet been answered, but surely it must be an option in the minds of the executives.
And now for the last piece for this evening, Thai PBS invites you for the first time to a star party here at Thai PBS headquarters. We don't mean stars as in celebrities or TV personalities, but stars as in astronomical research. Thai PBS, together with the National Astronomical Research Institute of Thailand, the New Horizon Youth Group, and the Science Educational Center of Samut Sakhon, will organize a star party here at Thai PBS headquarters on Vipawadi Rangsit Road and broadcast the 7-hour-long program on our website, worldwideweb.thaipbs.or.th. Renowned scientists, Thai and international, will tomorrow share their lifelong experience and knowledge on stars and planets from 6 p.m. all the way to 1 o'clock in the morning. So those wishing to join, please do log into our website at worldwideweb.thaipbs.or.th/star-party. And that brings us to the end of tonight's edition of Thai PBS English News Service. For those of you who wish to be a part of our team as the English-speaking news reporter, this weekend will be your last chance. Please email us at Eng.News@thaipbs.or.th to show your interest, and we will reply you with a job description. And please make sure you enjoy the rest of your evening. This is Super John Clinswan signing out. Sawasdee krap.